Welcome back to Vette Vue. I'm Kyle McFarland. In this episode, we will be looking at a 1967 Corvette Coupe. With a 350 horsepower small block 327 cubic hinge engine, option code L79. It is currently listed on eBay with a buy it now price of $77,900. But there is a best offer option. From the description, it states the following. Up for your consideration is a 1967 Corvette Coupe. It's an extremely rare one of 444. Produced in 1967, it has a numbers matching L79 350 horsepower 327 with factory air conditioning, power steering, and power brakes, as well as a telescopic steering wheel. This Stingray has a 355 traction rear end. The transmission is not the original, but it is an M21 from a 1964 Corvette. It is finished in its original colors, ermine white with saddle leather interior. The body was made by A.O. Smith. It has a nice fitment. Setting the car off, it has a Stinger hood with a black stripe. Sitting on a nice set of redline radial tires. It has a rust-free frame and birdcage. The paint is nice, not perfect but nice. The chrome is in good shape. The body is super straight. It had radiused wheel wells at some point in the car's life, but since have been fixed. Bonding strips are in place. Nice clean interior. Most items work on the car, with the exception of the speedometer. This Corvette Stingray Coupe is priced to sell. Now, over to George Spankle for his commentary on originality.
Thanks, Kyle. The first glaring issue is the big block hood. Why is that on an L79 small block car? You certainly don't need it. There's no clearance issue with the small block hood, which should look like this. We need to take a close look at this car. Well, then there is the mirror on the passenger side, which may be a telltale sign that there might be something up with this Corvette.
George, what do you mean by that?
Well, Kyle, think about it. If you had a 1967 Corvette L79, one of only 444 with air conditioning, a possible top flight car or Bloomington Gold winner, would you drill holes in the passenger side door and install an aftermarket mirror?
Probably not.
Well, more like definitely not, unless you had gone bonkers. This is another clue that this car may have some major issues.
Okay, George, how about the engine? How does that look to you?
Aside from the missing spark plug shielding and the incorrect radiator overflow cap, the L79 engine looks very good. I would say it's the high point and appears to be original to the car.
George, anything else?
I would say the most concerning issue with this car is the serial number plate. The plate can be found underneath the passenger side of the dashboard, which is normally dry and doesn't have an issue with rust. However, this plate appears to have been very rusted and partially cleaned off.
So George, how do you think the serial plate became rusted?
Well, I can think of two possibilities. At one time, the interior may have been open to the elements, meaning there was no glass on this car and it was sitting outside. Or the more likely scenario is the car was possibly at east partially submerged in water. That's backed up by the fact that the interior looks like a replacement, which absolutely would have needed to be replaced. If the car had been submerged, the carpeting would have been totally ruined and could not stay in the car.
This seems like all the more reason why this car would need to be closely inspected, especially the frame for any internal rust.
Another issue is the trim plate. It doesn't have any rust, and after closely looking at the plate, you can see circular marks from previously attached rivets. Clearly, this plate has been off this car at one time and it may not be original to this Corvette.
Now let's check the parts rack with Jamie Colavito.
Thanks, Kyle. If this Corvette is a true L79, then all that's needed is the proper small block hood, like this one. Also, an original radiator overflow cap, and the correct spark plug shielding, like this. I've included links in the description below for all the parts which I have shown. By clicking on the links, you can go directly to a reputable Corvette parts distributor. Now, back to you, Kyle.
Thanks, Jamie. George and I will now discuss our thoughts regarding this 1967 Corvette. So George, what are your thoughts on this 67 L79?
Well, Kyle, there be a couple of scenarios. Number one, if this Corvette is truly an L79 and simply needs the proper hood and a few other odds and ends, then the asking price is not too bad. But if this is a mismosh, in other words, it was pieced together from a few cars, I would say more like $40,000.
How likely is it that this Corvette is a true L79?
Well, as shown in this picture, the tachometer appears to match the L79 as it is a 6000 red line version. That's a very good sign.
I think we are in agreement. This Corvette needs a much closer look.
Absolutely, Kyle, but I would be leaning towards it being a true L79 with many replaced parts.
Well, there you have it. Please subscribe to our channel for more analysis of Corvettes for sale. If you would like a Corvette featured on Vette Vue, send us an email at vettevue@yahoo.com. Please include your description and some pictures. If you have video, include the link to where we can find your Corvette. Special thanks to George Spenkel and Jamie Colavito for their contribution to this video. Once again, this is Kyle McFarland for Vette Vue. Hope to see you next time.